but my idea for some time, which maybe is questions that you get a lot of the time as well, because of your position in EuroLeague, is, and because of my position in sport and in football, many times people or students or people wanting to change their careers will say, how did you become a football lawyer? How did you work in sport? How did you manage to do this? Because, for example, I love football, or I love films, or I love music, or I love fashion or art, or all of these sectors which are which I think a lot of people feel very passionate and strongly about, that they can combine their passion or their curiosity with their job. And so one of the things that I'm trying to speak to people about, and then to start writing about, which I've done to some degree, is to try and speak to people in the entertainment and in the type of industries that I work with and that I have a lot of respect for, because I think they're doing such a fantastic job, to be able to understand maybe a little bit of your path, of your journey, but also to understand, was it something that you always wanted to work in this type of sector? How did you go about doing these things? And just some stories or some ideas, just to start with, maybe.
Okay. Well, I have to tell you that my job in the EuroLeague was a little bit by chance. By chance, I mean, because I was in my last course of ESADE. You know, ESADE is one of the main business schools here in Spain. And I had my degree in business and economics. After that, I made my MBA in ESADE. And when I was in the last year of ESADE, I would like to change my current, at that time, job. I was working for a multinational of industrial valves. So
very different.
I was the finance director, and this company was let's see, a branch of the Halliburton company. You know, the company owned by Dick Cheney.
Yes.
Was vice president of the United States, and I met him a long time ago. And then, you know, finance and industrial company is something very boring. So I tried to look for something new, and in the let's see, work pool of ESADE, where companies apply for students or for new workers, I saw the let's say the announcement of sports company, and I took the decision to apply for it. And then when I realized that was EuroLeague, well, I was excited. Why? Because sports always is something what attracts people, and most of the people. That if it was fashion, would be perfect, because I'm in love with the fashion world. But sports, well, I was a girl who was following sports at that time. Basketball was very nice in Spain, because the ACB did a very good job at that time. And well, then it was by chance, because after applying to the announcement, I was in the whole project, and Jordi, in the last interview, he offered me the job. So, and why sports? Because, you know, when you talk about finance, and all of us knows about it, it's the association of finance is something very boring. no, very, let's see, every time you have to do the same. There's no passion, there's no things changing. It's not like marketing or, for example, the legal world that always is changing, and then you have to be adapted to every change that is done and so on. But for me, the EuroLeague is like not only finance, it's the strategy of make things better. So, for example, now that we are in all the project of the new franchises and to close the league for 22-23 season and so on. So I'm involved in those projects that are very related with finance, but are always different. You have to discuss with a lot of people just to find, for example, a number, just to find a procedure, and so on. So that's what I like and I love from this job.
And you talk about chance, but when you, for example, did the MBA, was that because you felt you needed some more additional skills to change your position? And if I can just ask, as much as you're able to tell me, you obviously decided to do that to gain greater understanding, greater knowledge, be more attractive to the job market because you would have greater skills. Why did you decide to do the MBA? For all of those reasons and to have a change of outlook?
Well, when I told you MBA, let me say something, because I don't know the exactly name, but it was the finance master.
Yeah.
It's not MBA because I was coming from business degree and then the economics degree, that was 2 degrees together. And then what I decided at that time was to be specialized in finance, but at the top level. And why? To be able to evaluate companies, to be able to analyze, let's see, how to be involved in the big operations of companies, not as an accountant, but as a strategic decisions. And at that time, ESADE was one of the biggest and most famous schools, and it was not only to be let's see, safety, or to be more sure about my knowledge, but also to be linked to a prestigious school. That at that time, for companies, someone who came from ESADE was, let's see, better qualified than someone coming from the official university or the governmental university. So it was my decision to be more sure about my knowledge as you.
Because it's interesting, whenever I speak to a lot of people, yourself included, a lot of people say to me, it was quite lucky, or there was a chance, or all of these things. When actually, I think, from speaking with a lot of people, it's the exact opposite of luck. I mean, you said, you used the first thing you said, chance, that you saw the role, but I actually think it was the opposite of chance. It's because you decided to invest in yourself more. You went on the course to be the highest possible type of finance and strategic person you could be, and then that opportunity opened as a result. So I don't know whether it's different how you see it, but I think a lot of the time when people say, I was lucky that I was in the right place at the right time, or this happened, but actually, and I'd be interested in your views on that, that to me feels the opposite. It was, you did all of these extra things, all of these possibilities, all of these things opened for you, and then those opportunities happened as a result.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm going to to tell you maybe an anecdote, because I come from a very humble family, and before the SADE master, my father told me, because I was moving by motorbike in Barcelona, and at that time I was working in Sant Just Desvern, that is a village outside of Barcelona, and I was going there every day by motorbike. And my father said to me, okay, I don't have too much money, but what do you prefer? Do you prefer this amount of money to buy for buying a car and whatever you may need and so on, or to do what? And I told my father, I want this money for doing this master in ESADE, and then the car I will buy it after I finish my degree in ESADE. So, and was like that. So I decided to invest in myself and not in a material things that I thought that these material things would come afterwards. So it's something that it's in the line that that you said to me.
I really like all of those stories. So any more of those type of things are really interesting, because I think also one of the other things that whenever I speak to people, one idea that a lot of people have, I think successful people that are motivated, is mindset, like your ideas in your brain that start when you're a child, that are adapted by your family, and then develop when you become a professional person into the profession that you're thinking about. If you were to give some ideas about your own mindset, your own ideas about whatever you're able to tell, what would you say your main like principles or mindsets are in your own development over time?
Well, I, as I told you before, I come from a humble family, and my principles are to be a person that never depends from another person, or from the chance, or from whatever. My idea always from I was little is to become a financial or economically independent person, and I always have been studying a lot, and developing myself a lot, working while I was studying. So, for example, in my first degree in business, I was working in a school after the classes. I went to a school of special education to be with people with some problems, maybe some Down syndrome, the Down, I don't know, yeah, and some other problems, to help them during 2 hours to entertain them, because they after lunch they had 2 hours to make entertainment and to be relaxed and so on. And I was during 2 years of my business degree doing that, just to have some money to not ask my parents for example, if I want to buy dresses or whatever, or to go for a drink during the weekends and so on. So my mentality, my principles was to always be capable to depend on myself, and I thought that coming from a humble family, I would like to achieve my goals, and one of my goals is, for example, the one that I'm living right now, that Yes, it's true. We work a lot. It's a job with a lot of stress, and and now at that time is horrible. COVID time has been something crazy, but I'm satisfied with my goals because I think that I have achieved them by being honest, being professionally, let's see, valid, working in my talent, investing in my talent, and I don't know, trying to bring to my company all that I can from my knowledge, from my experience, and so on. So I think that's these are my principles.
I think everybody has very similar, interesting mentality principles of working very hard, of continuing to invest in yourself, of interestingly what you said before about earning money. But I found it interesting that the type of job that you did, because a lot of highly successful people as well, and people that have done well, very much like giving to others, like feeling that they the more responsible their position, the more important it is to give back, either in terms of advice, in terms of time, in terms of charity, and it gives them a better perspective sometimes as well. One other idea that a lot of people I've tried to understand is habits. So lots of people that I've spoken to, and part of the reason why I'm trying to write this book, this idea, is like we talked about in the beginning, when people say, I want to work in basketball or I want to work in football, and they think just because they watch basketball or they watch football or they love shopping for clothes and fashion, that means that they would be the best person for that job. When actually, as you said, the reason you got your job in EuroLeague was because of your skills and your learning and your study and your competency to do it. And going to the habits idea, was a lot of people seem to have quite productive habits that they do either regularly, every day, certain things they build in. So I would just be really interested in, are there particular things that you do? I know obviously you're a mother as well, so you have 2 children to look after, which is the hardest job. I know from my wife does an amazing job too. Are there other types of habits that you find good? I know you play a lot of sport, for example, as well, and other things. So inside your professional and outside your professional, are there things that make you more productive, that aid your life better by doing certain things?
Well, as you said, I like to play paddle. Paddle, it's like well, tennis with walls, and always with a partner. You always play 2 against 2, and I like to go every day to the gym. Well, maybe not every day, but at least 3 times to the gym. Why? Because I think that if I take care of myself, I could be more productive, and I could reduce my level of stress. So, for example, if there are some weeks in which maybe I cannot go to the gym 3 days and I only go 1 day, I'm not feeling well, because my body tired or more, let's see, how do you say, tense, and then I don't feel as productive as I can be. So my habit is always take care of my body and go to the gym or playing paddle with friends at least 3-4 times per week. So that means maybe Saturday, Sunday, and 2 other days during the week. but I need this as the water, like water, because I have also a problem in my back, because I went to the surgery when I was 31 years old, because I had hernia and discal protuberancy, or I don't know what's the technical name in English, in my back. And then after that, I decide to take care of my back, my body, and so on. So it's something that I need. And another habit is to be with my friends during the weekend, to share some lunch, some dinner. Well, not now, sometimes only, but to change the mood, to disconnect from the work. So that's my current habits.
How do you find it? Do you find it easy to disconnect? Because I think I know what the answer will be. I find it very difficult to disconnect even at the weekends, because when you I know work as hard as you do, and I work in an industry that is 24/7, you know, 365 days a year, having the headspace to not think about things sometimes can be an advantage, but obviously for everyone's welfare and lifestyle, it can sometimes be quite difficult. How do you find switching off, if it is possible, just like you said, but otherwise, is it always at the back of your mind, always there, you know?
Do you know, the only way where that I find always to disconnect is when I'm in the court to play paddle. At that time, I disconnect for at least 45 minutes. The last 15 minutes, again, I'm back to my work, and then I'm just thinking, oh, maybe there is a message in the mobile or an email or so on, and then at that time I always lose my game. but it's, or maybe when I'm with music, I try to relax with music while I'm in the elliptic machine.
Yeah.
Elliptic. And then during 20-30 minutes with music, I try to disconnect. But for example, last Sunday, I was working all the evening. So I was in the, you know, in Spain we call siesta, and then where I woke up like that. Oh my God, I have to work this afternoon because I have to finish something. And but I think that music and sports is the only way to disconnect for a while.
Can I maybe ask you an even more difficult question?
Yeah.
Do you think it is possible to become a senior executive in a very, you know, high-profile sport like basketball or football, or in fashion or in television or anything else, if your job does not take up most of your life?
No, it's not possible. You have to be, you need to be involved in your job, as you said, 24/7, because if not, things are changing so fast. If you are not connected to news and everything that is happening around this world, then you cannot be the best one. You can be, let's say, good, but not the best one. And then this kind of jobs absorb, I think, most of your time. And for example, you are a lucky man, but I already paid in my private life part of this let's say, this job, because I was divorced when my children was 3 and 7 years old. And I was divorced because I couldn't manage everything. I couldn't manage to be the good wife, the good mother, the good professional, traveling around, and so on. And it was a time that you stop and you said, okay, I cannot leave my job because I have to eat, and I like it. Maybe my relationship with my husband has been, let's say, more difficult because every one of us has evolved in a different manner. And of course, my children are my children, so there's nothing to say about this. So I took time from my divorce. So at the time that I didn't have my children is the time that I dedicate to myself and my job. But being a woman and being a high profile of professional, it's difficult. It's difficult. Now it's a little bit easier because my children are bigger, and then you don't have to dedicate as much time as when they were little. And I have time for my partner, for myself, and for the job, but it's difficult. We have to understand that the people who are in that wall and at that level of professional, it's quite difficult to manage everything of your life.
I think that's right, and I wonder, when speaking with a lot of people, this isn't to put off people, I guess, from doing what they want to do and what they love to do, but I think there is a sacrifice to be made sometimes for the choices. Changing subject just a little bit, because I don't want to take too much more of your time, because I know you're very busy as well. Is just one or two more questions. The first was, when you were studying, when you were learning, or even, now and otherwise, did you have, people that you turned to be able to offer you advice, to be able to offer things to support you? You call it mentors. I'm not sure if it's the same word in Spanish, but did you ever have any mentors, either formal or informal, that you would turn to when things were difficult, when things were good, when you needed to rely on other people for some advice or ideas? And did they teach you anything interesting, any particular insights that you could share at all?
Well, in that case, I have to say that I had two mentors, no? One, and Jordi is my boss, but I recognize that I have learned a lot from him. So he helped me to become the professional that I'm now. But another mentor from whom I learned a lot how to manage difficult situations, have to take into account different pieces of around you when you have to take a decision and so on, was Salvador Alemany, that you know him very well, because I think that his let's see, flexibility, but his way to do things helped me to be more, to take more serenity when you are facing some problems and you have to manage how to try to solve different things. And I think he's one of my mentors. Yeah.
So if I can just ask then one extra little question there, because it was very interesting. I agree. It's whenever I've met Salvador on a number of occasions, I was really interested to speak to him more in particular ways. When you talk about serenity in difficult situations, I guess my understanding is, when things are difficult, when there is a lot of pressure, when there are lots of conflicting issues to deal with, instead of, you will always still feel the pressure, but it's making your decision making better, perhaps. Is that an idea that he was able to explain?
Yeah. It's a correct idea. Is when to the not let you influence by the pressure without, and then if you are very let's say influenced by the pressure, you maybe forget to take something into account to take the decision. And then what Salvador helped me is, okay, we have this. If we do that, why do we that? Why do we do that? What is the effect? To whom we are helping with that? To whom we are, let's see, making, let's see, a bad effect or so on. So it's like sit down and analyze what effect take if you go in that direction or in that other, or in other one. So it's like evaluate everything that you have around you, and then to not, okay, I'm going to solve this because if not, this guy will, wow. No. You can help this guy or not. If you help this, what are the effect in the other group, and so on. So it's like this kind of serenity.
Yeah, really nice. And okay, last question for you. And hopefully it's just on one of the questions that I'd already sent through, so hopefully it won't be too much of a surprise. But I take this question from someone else that has written a book. He's a guy called Tim Ferriss, and he's written quite a lot of quite interesting self-development books. And he asks lots of high-profile leaders around the world. This is the last question that he asks when he does an interview sometimes. And the question is, if you have a massive billboard where you could say anything to inspire people, what would it say? So I know it's a difficult one, and sometimes people have said, so to give you an example, there's been lots of different ones, which some people have just said one word, which is listen, for example. Or another person has said to me, recommend good books or something like this. And others have said quite interesting Buddhist phrases or other things. And you don't need to tell me right now. You can maybe let me know at another time if there's nothing that springs to mind. But at least I think I would ask the question.
Well, I can use more than one word. Yeah.
You can use many sentences if you want to.
Well, I will say consistency between your feelings and your actions. I will say something like that. Because I think that consistency is something that helps everyone when you have to take decisions, and when you have to be aligned with what you are doing and why you are doing this. So I think consistency. Well, I will use also honesty, tough, hard work, and so on. But I think consistency between your feelings and your actions. To be different.
Very nice. I might have to come back and ask you about that later, because I think there's lots of interesting parts to that as well, actually. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat. I've taken up now 45 minutes, so thank you for thank you for that.
It was funny, so thank you, Daniel.